The Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority has announced that jockey Paco Lopez, big jockey Paco Lopez, has been suspended for 6 months, effective today or probably tomorrow, depending on when you get this video, because I might just release it on the Wednesday. Now, quickly, for those who don't follow international racing, Paco Lopez is someone that have won quite a number of races over his career. He's someone that have won Breeders' Cup races, lots of big races, somebody who is highly rated, Paco Lopez. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this one to your attention, racing family, is that I'm looking at previous incidents where jockeys have been fined in Jamaica for whip violation, and even recently where a jockey was suspended for whip violation. And while I am of the school of thought that if either you're going to take whips out of racing altogether, or you're going to don't have a limit, meaning that if you believe that whips are a bad thing, then you shouldn't be whipping the horses any at all if you believe that the whips hurt the horses. Now, I did some research and opinions are divided based on whether the whips do hurt the animals or not. Opinions are divided, and I will present both set of facts as to whether it hurt the animals or not in another video. The best person to ask probably would be the horses, and yes, you probably have to hear it from the horse's mouth. But if it was Jamaican stewards who decided that they were going to suspend someone for 6 months, racing fans would have been saying that the stewards are the worst and the stewards don't have any sense and the stewards must go. It would become a big national issue. It would be worse than the Samantha Fletcher incident. And of course, it would be worse than the incident with Philip Parchment. Now, the stewards must take their beating for those two incidents. But if they were to, based on the rule of racing, do something as drastic as this, then I would stand by them because it would be in the racing rule. Now, the attorney for Paco Lopez, Drew Malika, stated that he didn't violate any of the provision of his conditional reinstatement agreement because what had happened was that he was suspended initially, right, for an incident that took place last year in December. And they're saying now that as part of that reinstatement, he was not supposed to be a repeat offender and he went ahead and he became a repeat offender. But of course, his attorney is saying nothing like that. Now, if that was the case, for example, in Jamaica, let's say Radish Roman, Shane Ellis, or one of those guys, was suspended for whip violation, excessive whip violation, right? And then it was agreed upon that he would not serve the suspension, it would be a suspended suspension. And what will happen is that if he offend again, he will be suspended. Now, let's say Roman or Ellis or one of those guys went ahead and in the mind of the steward decided that he reoffended, but in the mind of his attorney, he did not reoffended. Now, that would cause a firestorm amongst punters who already don't like the stewards. And the stewards in Jamaica The stewards in Jamaica has been labeled as the worst. And frankly, I don't think that Jamaican stewards are even the worst amongst Jamaican officials. I believe that the worst would belong to the starters at boys and girls champs who don't know what discretion is when it comes to our 12 and 13 and 14-year-old athletes who barely twitch in the starting blocks or didn't even false start, but the system, the defective system, indicated that they false started. Yes, starters, you guys are the one I'm talking about. I don't forget the debacle that took place on the first 2 days at Boys and Girl Champs this year. They are the worst. And then the second worst, even though I have quite a number of friends who are referee, the Jamaica football referees are the second worst. And then after we go through the starters and the Jamaica football referee, then we come to the stewards. And my problem with the stewards, I should say, not steward, the stewards, right? My problem with the stewards is that they are not consistent. And this is probably about the third or fourth video that I'm doing speaking about the stewards. In the last video, someone came out attacking me. I think that person may be one of the stewards. But yeah, the stewards in Jamaica, my fundamental problem with them is that they are not consistent. And if it was the case that this was done by the Jamaican stewards, of course, punters would probably feel aggrieved because I can rest and assure that what, based on previous experience, what would have happened was that someone who is not even the most egregious offender would have found themselves sitting a 5 or a 6 month ban, while other offenders get a slap on the wrist. That's my only problem with the stewards. I've done video backing them, I've done video calling them out, and I will continue to back them when they get the decision correct. They're getting a lot of the decision correct. I would say probably about 99% of the time I agree with the stewards at the track. The only time I disagree with them now is in terms of consistency. In terms of today, you will see them disqualify someone for something, and on another day, someone else does the same exact thing and they wouldn't disqualify the person who does that same exact thing, which leads people to wonder what's really going on. But as long as the stewards are consistent, whether they are banning jockey for 6 months for a whip violation or they're pulling down numbers after someone crossed the finish line first, then as long as it's something that is extremely consistent or somewhat consistent to a particular level where you know this is where the bar is at, so that whenever an incident takes place, you can look at the incident, analyze the incident, and you can come to almost a rational prediction as to what direction the stewards are going into. That's what I want to see because, frankly, I don't think the Jamaican stewards are even the worst among stewards. I have seen incident at other tracks and I have to scratch my head. I never forgot once at, I believe it was either Charlestown or Mountaineer, or was it Parks? Uh, Not a big fan of Parks. I think it would have been Charlestown or Mountaineer, one of the afternoon tracks, where I had a banker that was interfered with severely, and they did not take down the winner that interfered with that banker severely. And I would have been a single winner that day because no one else caught the pick six that day. I think that was Charlestown. And no, I'm not talking out of my pocket, but a group of us looked at that video of the replay and we all agreed that had it been Caymanas Park, that number would have come down and it would have been the right call. So, yes, Paco Lopez sitting out a 6-month ban. If this took place in Jamaica, it would have been anarchy. But I won't have a problem if this takes place in Jamaica, only if it is done selectively. That would have been my issue. Anyway, peace out for now.